Alright, I'm about to go into the your voting doesn't count fallacy, where the first person to tell you whether or not your vote counts for something is me. I will go into about how the whole US presidential election is just one gigantic popularity poll, and you have no bearing on that. And that's why it's so despicable, so sinister, the way they raise campaign funds. This is how you know Ron Paul is a scumbag, just like all the rest of them. You have this misconception that Ron Paul is somehow better because he believes what he says. Well, maybe that's true, but what does he believe? He believes that the free market can do no wrong. He believes that anyone that is greedy, evil, deceitful, murderous enough to succeed in the market should. And he's portraying himself as this, like, market saint so that you give him campaign funds and then he conveniently drops out of the race. Every single time. Ever since 1988, he has been running for president and failing every single time. And it has not occurred to you that maybe this is a scam to get your money for him to run for president, and then, oh, I dropped out, I guess it didn't work out for me, next 4 years, you know? And then you guys want to claim that you know anything about money, about marketing, about physical responsibility. You don't see me contributing money to any politician, regardless of how little it is. I wouldn't contribute a fucking penny of it, because I know better. I know how the system works, and even if I didn't know how it would work, I would know that my money is far too valuable to me, because I don't have a lot of it, to be giving it out, pissing it away on some stupid politician who has more money than I could ever imagine. So, you're just fucking retarded. But then again, you probably support moderators, so it's not all that unusual. But I'm getting off topic here. What I want to talk about is how voting does count. It doesn't count in the way you think it does, but it does count. You do affect who becomes state representative and senator, which is why I wanted to run for state representative. Technically, you vote for that. Whether or not the politicians like it, whether or not they spin everything around with their propaganda and deceitful advertisements and everything to mold your opinion, you do vote for those politicians. You don't vote for the Supreme Court. You don't vote for the president. You don't vote for judges individually. You don't vote for lieutenants. You don't vote for people that run your schools. You don't vote for anything of that sort. Ironically, you don't vote for the things that affect your personal community. But you do elect state representatives and senators, which in turn affects who's going to be voting for those community things. Or if they just get rid of them entirely, as has happened many of times. They have gotten rid of the bureau leader of teaching commission or whatever the fuck. So, it's not unusual for politicians to cut programs of other politicians and etc. But at the end of the day, the only thing you need to know is that you vote for the first two houses of the United States Republic, and then those two houses vote for the president, and then they all get together, circle jerk one another, and elect Supreme Court nominees. So, that right there is reason enough to get involved. While you may not be as educated as you would like to be on the issues and on the politicians themselves to make an educated decision of who you should vote for state representative or senator, it is your duty to do so. Because whether or not you know all there is to know, surely you have some kind of moral paradigm. Surely there is something that would make you prefer one over the other. And it is your moral obligation to go out and vote. I do not blame people for complaining when they say, you know the old saying, oh, you voted, therefore you can't complain. No, it's the opposite. If you don't vote, you don't have a right to complain, because you did not participate. To be fair, voting is a minuscule form of reform. If voting actually did anything, it would be illegal. But the point is, it's something. You're not going to go out there and fucking break windows. You're not going to go graffiti walls. You're not going to go torch a police officer. So the least you can fucking do is get up off your ass and go vote. It's that simple. If you're not going to be a revolutionary, the least you could do for your country is be a reformist. And the very fact that so many people out there want to be neither, but then think they have an opinion on anything, is what's ridiculous. So, and this even affects my own family. There are people in my own family that feel so ambivalent to voting, and frankly, I don't know why. Even if you believe that the whole politicians part of it is just one big secret society, and they all vote in each other, which it does work to like that to some extent, but as I said, a lot of it does not as well. Anyway, you still get to vote for the laws of your state, which can indirectly influence the national economy, the direction of the national morality, which can entice other states to emulate you in some regards and in some regards not. Voting has an indirect consequence on the environment around you. And that is why you need to know what's going on in your state, what's going to be on the ballot, and how you need to vote. Whether or not you vote how I want you to vote, because I cannot foresee every single end result of how an election comes about. I might vote for something thinking it's the right thing to do, and then it turns out to fuck things up in a way I could not have predicted. So, I'm not going to say that you have to agree with me. But to be fair, because I'm a human being, and because I know people like I know them, if you don't want to vote, and you seem like the kind of person that would vote in conflict with me, I'm not going to pressure you. Don't vote. Let people like me handle it. Let the adults do the voting. And you can go back to your Snooki and your Facebook and your tweets and shit like that, while the rest of us run this fucking country. But to the people out there that are concerned and just don't know shit because your school hasn't taught you, the media isn't teaching you, nobody gives you any information at all, but then they expect you to be well educated, they expect you to have a fucking college degree to flip burgers at McDonald's, but yet you don't know jack shit about anything. They don't want you to know. Intelligence is a very powerful weapon, and they know that, and that's why they keep you stupid. But at the same time, then they expect you to know all this shit to do the most mundane jobs. No, it doesn't work that way. So, what I'm getting at here is, okay, I'll give you an example. I told my girlfriend about how there was this issue in Florida about basically giving house tax exemption status to veterans. If you were in the war, and you come back from the war, and you want to buy a house, you don't have to pay taxes on that house. How would you feel about that? Could you not say that that issue would indeed affect this country either positively or negatively? Would it affect the state positively or negatively? Everyone's going to jump on the bandwagon of, oh, there are troops, we support our troops, let's give them tax exemption status. But the way I look at it is, how are you going to bitch about the state's economy and about how we got a deficit to pay, but then you want to give tax exemption status to people because of little special things. Ooh, he went and killed innocent brown people in Afghanistan. Let's clap for him and give him tax exemption status. He's not fucking special. He's just a murderer that got paid for it legitimately. I wish I could get paid to murder people. But no, he does it because it was for America. It's bullshit. I'm not going to let someone else get tax exemption status that I myself could not get. Especially for something like that. There is nothing to be proud of for being part of the imperialist war machine. And a lot of people are going to get butthurt about that. You don't support our troops. You're goddamn right I don't support our troops. Because they're going out there killing innocent people. Getting paid for it. And I ain't getting shit. And it's only a matter of time before they were to turn those guns on me. If martial law were declared, or if some kind of authoritarian bill were passed, they wouldn't give a fuck about me. They would gun me down like I was a piece of steak or something. They don't care. They don't know me. They're not my friend. They're not my family. So what's to stop them from hurting me the way they hurt people abroad? It's about your morality. If they truly believed that they were doing something helpful for their country, where they're fighting terrorism and things like that, then how come they are so rigidly obedient to their establishment. The military are not allowed to talk about politics, which is why I couldn't be in the military. The military are not allowed to disobey their commanding officers and things like that. That is contrary to basic morality. If somebody is doing something wrong, you contradict them. You oppose them. You might even shoot them. But the military can't do that. They're trained not to do that. They are trained to be as servile as humanly possible. That is the very antithesis of freedom. That everything the military stands for is against freedom. Because by its very nature, you have to be this establishment that never deviates from your superiors. That sort of class hierarchy has no place in a free society. And furthermore, I find it disgusting that someone can just get tax exemption status for signing up for the military. Was he dishonorably discharged? Was he honorably discharged? Blah, blah, blah. You know, should that play a factor? The fact that he got his arm blown off the same way as some other guy but got the dishonorable discharge doesn't fucking matter. His arm's still blown off. He still has post-traumatic stress disorder. So, what the fuck? You know? And because of my dark humor, I made a joke about it where, you know, you got a guy without arms, nubbing around on a wheelchair, and then he like sees this nice house he wants to buy, and then he sees the bill and the taxes on it, and he's like, damn it! Well, I gotta pay taxes like a normal citizen. What the fuck is this? How many brown people does a guy gotta kill to not have to pay taxes? And then he starts flailing around his little nub arms and legs and falls off his wheelchair. Ah! I find that pretty funny. My girlfriend didn't find that so funny. But, you know, she's a neocon. So, the point is that, yeah, you have to take these things seriously. Whether or not you agree with someone on them, whether or not you think it's going to end up one way and then it's going to end up a complete other, for all we know, not giving the troops tax exemption status could end up like the Simpsons monorail. You know? We don't know. We're not psychics. But it's up to you to get involved. It's up to you to fucking educate yourself and do something about it to the best of your ability, to the best of your knowledge, and to the best of your sense of dignity and compassion. As a human being, you have the obligation to be as moral as you can possibly be, given what you have available, given your resources as a moral person. And I try to do that every single day. And that's why I try to educate people on how the voting process works. And if you want to disagree with that, you go right ahead. But I would sure as hell like to know why you don't think it's more of a pressing concern how people are voting, why they're not voting, and why they should continue not to vote, and then want to bitch about all this shit about corruption and the powerful elite, the 1%, and things like that, when you won't even get up to go fucking vote. That's all you gotta do. I mean, I'm not saying that that's gonna solve everything, but the fact that you can't even do that, and then you're gonna fucking tell me, like you know about the struggle of the working class and how all this shit is because of a few elite bankers and things like that. No shit, Sherlock. But the fact is, you aren't even willing to get up and vote, let alone go out and do something illegal. So, I guess that's all I have to say.